Curtis Vendors, Lincoln County Sheriff.
Jenna Wallace, Lincoln County DA.
Jamie Russell, Sheriff's Office.
Jess Palmer, Sheriff's Office.
Adam Shank, Sheriff's Office.
Dave Roderick, Lincoln City. John McDowell, Sheriff's Office.
Cheryl Lockhart, presiding judge.
And online, starting with Mr. Greco.
Hi, Greco, Defense Bar.
Lori,
Lauren Blogger, Reconnections Counseling.
Ashley,
Selena John, so let's try.
Ashley Ramirez, Phoenix Wellness Center. And I think Wiley is going to be coming in just a few minutes. He was running a little behind, just to let you guys
Okay.
know.
Carl's actually at the door waiting for anyone last night. Okay, and I know a lot of us have 1 o'clock that we need to leave for myself, so we will move through this rather quickly, but we are making a lot of progress. At the last meeting, we had a few things to work on, and including just to kind of go down my list here, we're working on language for the officer cheat sheet, we being the DA and myself. And that should be on this form. Did you send them out on email? Okay, thanks. So that should be on this form. You can see me holding that up. The collection quote program. This is basically going to be the officer's pocket card to go in their notebook. Working on that size and really kind of a condensed version of this flow chart that we'll still have for the training, but something that they can refer to really quickly in the field for simplicity purposes. So we really want to finalize that. And I know Wiley's coming. He was assigned with getting that on-call number, which is something we need. Do you know if that's been done, Ashley?
Yes, he does. And I think that was actually part of what was delaying him was trying to get the phone number actually written down. But yes, I know he physically has the phone,
Wiley's going to be
all that fun stuff, but we should have a phone number. I don't have it on me right now, but hopefully by the end of this meeting, we can email it out if Wiley doesn't get here in time.
Okay. Oh, Wiley's going into your office?
No, he's coming into your guys' office, I
Okay.
believe.
We'll still wait. Okay. Well, as soon as we get that, we can work on it. And then I know we had a couple questions, right?
Yeah, so the intent was it will be laminated and it will be front and back. So the back will actually be the new, I know I did print off one if you want to pass those down. So anyways, the back will be kind of the cheat sheet for officers regarding weight and possession. And so I have the DEM misdemeanor in blue. So then hopefully that will correspond to the blue on the other side if they do want to do the deflecting route. But the intent is that this will just be like a laminated thing that they can stick in their notebook and have with them at all times. As far as it starts obviously with eligibility. And so I know we said B and C misdemeanors. I'm a little worried that might be too broad for law enforcement, to be quite honest. And so I think that these disorderly conduct, trespass 2, theft 3, or offensive littering are probably our most common B and C misdemeanors that will be paired with a DEM charge. And so I would suggest literally just spelling it out for them on the pocket guide for ease of them having to figure out, is it a B misdemeanor, is it a C? I just think it's going to get too complicated. So anyways, it starts there. Obviously, there's the 2 different routes. They either want to participate in the deflection program or they decline to participate in the program. If they want to participate, then the officer calls on-call deflection navigator at the number, and then the navigator and or officer makes safety plan. Officers issues deflection citation to individual. If they decline, then they would be transported and booked into the Lincoln County Jail on criminal charges. And then in either route, the officer would still process the evidence, complete their police report. And then this was the piece that we were determining on whether or not they need to submit the case to the DA. Originally on the one that just printed out, it was just to the DA. Then I thought, well, maybe it should be the deflection coordinator or the DA. But and the sheriff brought that up as well. So we were going to talk about it at our meeting today, just as far as a process. My one thought is that I do think the deflection coordinator needs to be looped in when law enforcement is choosing the deflection path. And I think the intent is likely that one of the citation copies would end up getting referred to the deflection coordinator, but I think it would be beneficial for the deflection coordinator to see a police report, because if for some reason, I don't know, the weight is over the amount, or, something like that, I think the deflection coordinator would likely be the first person to say, oh, I know the officer deflected this person, but it looks like they're actually not eligible for deflection. So I think the report should go to the deflection coordinator if they are deflected.
I make a recommendation.
Yes, of course.
I think to make it easiest for law enforcement, if we just send them all to the DA's office, where a team can distribute the deflection ones to your deflection coordinator, and then there's no question, it's the same process, and it simplifies it for everyone touching it.
How will it be how will it be, I guess, on the report, how will my staff know that it's a deflection case?
Should come with
The charges, the citation or the charges on the offense should be a DD or a,
But would just
Can
give
we
the
add
charges.
DEM to our 43? We can select the different folder to copy to, and we set our, our CR1s, can we add something to mark 43 to where the officer in the field could then click that checkbox and it distributes it?
Because my concern is that we will also be getting referrals for DEM, like people who don't do deflection, that those are gonna come in as a DEM as well. And so I'm trying to figure out a way where my staff is not going through every police report to determine whether or not they were deflected or whether or not they need to be reviewed for criminal charges.
would your deflection coordinator though be able to make that determination? Do you think they would have the time to do that?
I think so, if it was marked somehow on the report, like, I don't know, maybe in the case, like in the summary at the top. I forget if your guys' reports, Lincoln Cities are a little bit different. I think your reports,
They should keep it all the same. Toledo's would be different.
Toledo's different.
Jenna, I
mean,
have a question.
Yeah.
My question is in red cap, do we have to document, does the deflection coordinator have to document who was offered deflection and declined it?
I think
I
so.
would guess so. I haven't seen that module yet.
I don't know.
And that's one of the things we were talking about, looping the coordinator in. I'm gonna guess they're gonna want to be looped in because that's a statistic that might have to be entered into red cap.
Yeah, the hard part is that I think, so essentially we're gonna have DEMs that are just referred for charges. We're gonna have deflection participants and we're gonna have declined deflection participants, essentially.
You're gonna have to note it in the report.
Right.
It should be somewhere where, like at the first of the report, this can be, so somebody doesn't have to read it at the last paragraph.
Right. Right. So
I
maybe.
think that could be figured out.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and then maybe they all go to the deflection coordinator.
Right.
And the coordinator sifts through and figures out which ones need to continue on to the DA's office and which ones then can be entered in to red cap and continue on the deflection path.
But I agree, even that the declinations, right, have to be entered. I'm sure that's a statistic
Yeah.
the state's gonna want.
Yeah, okay.
Just want to change that.
So I'll say, yeah, and maybe what we'll do is we'll set up like a deflection email so that, well, I'll have to talk to my staff about that because I don't even think we email reports right now. I think you guys do them through your share thing.
What if we can get all the agencies to agree that we add a header at the beginning of the narrative section of the reports that says like deflection status, and then we could have 3 statuses that you
Yeah.
can select from.
Yeah.
And that would be in the same spot in everybody's reports that are coming to your office.
That would be great.
Just go to the top of the narrative section.
Yeah, that would be great.
Probably work that out for you. Speakers.
Does anyone see any problem with kind of a flow chart on the cheat sheet? Any confusing? You think crops will be confusing about?
You guys see anything?
The only thing is there ever a space? There's always a victim outside of the state, but like, are there any criminal mischief charges to public property that you want to add?
Oh, like a criminal bishop 3.
Yeah.
Yes, that's probably one I should include in there. I will say these four are primarily the ones that are coming in with accompanying drugs.
I'm just thinking of the cases where you have this kind of clientele that even businesses sometimes are used to these people. They could be a victim of criminal mission, but they really just want them out, and they know if they were connected with services, they'd be fine with that. Those kind of cases.
They can have criminal mission free.
Aside from that, I think that covers.
I was gonna say, I couldn't think of any other ones though. I'm just worried that if we put B or C misdemeanor, I know harassments are gonna end up being
Yeah.
reflected. I don't know it. So, yeah, I think we gotta fill it out.
I'm starting small and trying to build on this. 'Cause
Right.
I'm guessing eventually some of these are, and you're gonna probably change that or may consider changing that to where some of these under one may go, if you know it's related to drugs, but we just don't find any drugs on.
I think in order to be eligible though, they have to have a potential DEM charge. I think that's what the
Yes.
Do they?
statute
They have to have.
requires. Yeah, I think if they don't, then that would be more of like a leased program.
Right.
I think those sounds, I have to have that, yeah.
But it could be a residue amount. It doesn't have to be. It could be like they find a pipe residue on them, technically. I think.
Yeah.
Have you scheduled your trainings
Yes.
with law enforcement?
Yes, we are gonna be the week of,
16.
yeah, the 16th, 17th and 18th, I believe. I had it written down on my thing. But anyways, we're doing 2 here in Newport and 3 in Lincoln City, with the PD's, hosting. We just talked to the chiefs today. I had a meeting this morning. And so I believe every agency will make that training mandatory for their patrol officers. The sheriff and I are going to go, and then we're hoping to get, maybe a navigator to attend with us. And I can actually send those dates to Jess, and then Jess, can you email out the dates and times?
LEC.
No, to our work group here. Just because I'm hoping that a navigator will come with us, it doesn't have to be the same navigator, but just to kind of have that piece of the puzzle. The sheriff plans to talk a little bit about how we ended up with deflection, kind of the measure 110 and things like that. I'm gonna go through the flow chart and then obviously be available for any questions. So we'll be doing that, yeah, the 16th and 18th and 19th.
16, 18.
I'm wondering if in addition to the flow chart, if it would be helpful to have, because I'm just picturing the interaction between, the person and the officer. To have kind of like talking points or some bullet points so that they know, because the person may have questions about do you want to participate in deflection? Well, what's that?
Yeah.
Some things that the officer could say, this avoids criminal charges being filed, this, kind of what the benefits of doing that are, so they could,
And I think the language
kind of
of that
sell it.
citation,
right,
I think was good.
sell it, but,
If they're selling, they can almost take the points there.
right.
Want to use them just like you do for a traffic citation.
Yeah, here's what, so, because I'm just trying to think of what questions they're probably gonna encounter in the field there.
Yeah.
I don't have to take you to jail, I'm gonna give you a citation, but there's no criminal charges being filed.
It'll be like.
It's not even on record, and so, I'm trying to think of other things that the person in the field would be asking. Basically, why should I do this, or what's the benefit of doing this?
Yeah. Are you thinking that for the pocket guide, or you're thinking that just as a general training?
Just trying to, as a training piece, but maybe, I don't know if that's something the officer would want to keep with them. Just so they understand deflection, so they understand what the benefit of doing it is.
And I think the idea was the back of the citation would is having this, some type of language like this that Lori put together.
Okay.
They should all have their citation book with them in the field, right?
So they're going to be issuing that, and so they can.
Yeah.
And then also with the training, hopefully, because we're,
Get the highlights so they understand what it
and I
works.
know that training and then
Uh-huh.
applying it, hopefully, I remember this somewhere.
Right,
And then obviously we'll be probably providing further updates as things go. Since this is brand new.
It's a different process, so I'm gonna, the officer, I'm gonna seizure the evidence, I'm gonna create a report, but, you're not gonna get prosecuted.
Right.
But if you follow through with these things.
Right. And hopefully the navigator or treatment provider, when they make
They'll
that
explain
connection,
it
and build further
and answer questions.
detail on that
Right.
too. So I think that's why it's important to have them at the training also to talk a little bit more about how that interaction, really trying to get that handoff as quickly as possible to them.
So I've been asked, are we collecting trespass twos?
As long as they have a DEM charge with it. So in order to do a deflection, that's what we were just talking about, you have to have a DEM charge.
But you don't have to deflect them. I think the officer in the field is going to determine whether or not this is an individual that should be deflected or should be taken to jail.
Just a lot of times we come in contact with people because of those cases and put drugs on them. Right?
I'm just thinking, a lot of our problem homeless people, I mean, you guys know, we bring them to jail.
Yeah.
So thinking about your training on, just make sure you touch on the fact that obviously for the officer, we want to with it seriously, but
And
we're not taking that tool away.
yeah, and I think when we've had Helping Hands come last week, I think the kind of what our vibe will be and what our training to law enforcement will be is that in that trespass situation, the decision for the individual is going to be, do we transport you to Helping Hands and you engage in deflection, or do we take you to jail? I don't think there's an option where we're saying, telling law enforcement to just leave them on the side of the road with a citation.
So I get that, I just make sure that my advice would just be to make sure you're trained.
Because we have someplace to take them. If Helping Hands, if that works out, right? So I hope there's an incentive there for them to engage, but we'll see.
Still have the option to do this. But again, based on Senate Bill 48 too, probably going to get more time off the road, Helping Hands, they don't want to stay there, they can here. Too. But again, and this is what we even told Helping Hands last time, that we want to make sure we're not taking problem children there and we're just going to cause a ruckus.
And those are the
Walk
people,
out.
those are the people I'm talking about.
Exactly.
We're not talking about.
No, correct.
Yeah, in fact,
People got hemmed up because they accused her. It's very pathetic.
Yeah.
Right.
Helping Hands even said they don't have a lot of capacity for the extreme mental illness cases. They are very much cooperative substance use.
Exactly. So we assured them that that's, obviously somebody could get there, but that's not going to be the option. And especially, you're talking about people that have a substance use disorder, so they're going to be on something. So maybe they need a cooling off period in jail. DA can still refer them to Helping Hands later.
And I really think the people who are going to say yes to deflection, like on the side of the road, are not going to be the people who are having like that mental health crisis, or you know what I mean? Like,
No, I agree with
I think those people probably will still be transported because I don't think they'll be able to say, yes, I'm calm and collected and I want to go to deflection.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah, me too. And again, it's that discussion out in the field between the navigator, the officer, the situation, and the participant.
Yeah.
All that's going to be, there's going to be a lot of discretion in there, but I think it needs to be there so that they can make an appropriate decision for community harm and reducing community harm, and making sure the person's safe and all those other things that we deal with. So no deny. But I think it's important to have those options. So let's see, so that does bring us to the back of the citation, right? And so the language that Lori worked on.
I just had one comment on the Lincoln County deflection. It's that the last sentence of Lincoln County deflection program for teams of professionals. utilizes substance abuse peers with lived experience to support, I'd say participants instead of you, because you don't use you anywhere else in that paragraph. Just change the you to participants.
Anything else needs to be on the back?
My goal is that, so, and people, even if they chose not to and actually got the citation or dropped out, that it would actually encourage them that just because maybe we haven't seen them in a couple of weeks, that doesn't mean that you can't still participate.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Do you think we should change the you and
Yeah, the last one, the
Even if-
consequences of non-completion, even if individuals or participants, even if individuals struggle, can I say that? Can I say that? So this is gonna be on the back of the citation?
I think if you just do even if participants.
Then you say with
Question through.
Um,
Oh,
okay, so individuals. Say participants
individuals have struggled with participation.
have, well, we change it to participants are encouraged to reach out to peer support throughout deflections as they can advocate and support participants even through non-compliance.
Let's do that. She's right.
No.
Does that sound right? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Okay. I would suggest, participants are encouraged to reach out for peer support throughout deflection as they can advocate and support participants throughout deflection.
Participants are encouraged to reach out to peer support throughout deflection.
You said throughout the reflection process.
Or through non-compactness, as they can advocate and support participants.
Do you have it written?
Throughout, I will write it down.
Oh, no, I thought you were reading it. I'm sorry.
I can write it down for
Get
you.
directly
Nope, I'll write it down for you.
And we just need the number again. So as soon as we get that number from Wiley, get that and the citations, it's at 2 to 4 weeks to print these. So they're going to get started. So we can get it out by the end of hopefully in December. We want to activate this. And then we needed did we get the so let's try behavioral health?
Yes, you just emailed that.
Okay, so we got that part on there. Working on the phone number, which we need. Any additional notes added to the flow charts?
Okay, how's this time? Participants are encouraged to reach out to peer support throughout deflection as they can support and advocate for participants even through non-compliance.
And then move the even number.
Here. Let's do this.
On the citation, there's a place for signature or client signature. It says if I do not complete a deflection program assessment within 48 hours of the citation, or I do not successfully complete the program. Is that, are we thinking that if someone doesn't, is that just kind of the threat language or? are we expecting if they don't do the assessment within 48 hours? My office is charging.
It says I may be arrested and prosecuted, right? So I agree to this. I understand that I could be arrested and prosecuted if I don't complete the assessment and I don't complete the program. I think that's appropriate.
Okay. But we're not doing, I guess, my office isn't going to charge them if they're outside the 48 hours.
It would probably be up to you three to the
May.
election coordinator to see, who's confirming if there is any active engagement once you
Okay.
get on it.
I know we talked about 6 months, but then I don't know if we ever talked about, I mean, at some point, I think we said like, give them a couple weeks to get in if they're not in.
Correct.
Okay.
That's really your decision, but I would say that that's probably a fair.
If the navigator says they just drop out the things that are hurt, then
Right.
can't get a hold of them, and
Yeah.
IP efforts, and your address is wrong, and you probably need
But I think it's good to put it on there for the expectation, right?
Yeah, I get that. Can the second one, can it say complete the deflection program?
Instead of successfully.
Well, no, just say instead of the first one says deflection program and all in the caps, and then can we have the second one, just so that they know we're talking about the same program? It's probably stupid then.
Consistency.
And then would assessment be capitalized?
No.
Do you think it would be beneficial on the PCS guidelines for me to put the ORSs since they might have to fill out on the citation? It's the biggest reason.
Or just as a general reminder when you're doing these trainings, not necessarily related to function, but you just remind about including DEM information specifically in the ORSs that are applicable to the DEM cases. Yes. Purpose of our tracking. It's fail.
And that's,
Substance,
But
for the substance, is everything.
so you're talking about adding the DEM to the ORS?
if they bring somebody to jail,
Yes.
so we have the information we can take. We talked about it during one Bailey meeting.
Right, but that's other words is to add the DEM, right?
Excuse me, what, Smarty? Yeah.
In the building, in the, it's,
That's what they've done.
Jess, are you doing the laminating? Not you personally, but are you? I can order them. Okay. I think this is a good size. Isn't it? That's like a good size, I think. Or I should just.
Yeah.
They're little.
I assume that you're looking at.
The chief financial talking about nobody even uses notebooks anymore, so I don't know where they're gonna go.
if it's not computerized, they can do this.
Notebooks? I've seen a lot of officers pull notebooks out. I mean, I can send it in the email format too, so you guys can forward it on too.
No, I think the one.
They have a citation book they're carrying around.
If you're around the little
They're usually-
word cards, those
They're
are like that.
usually doing them on.
Or do you and I?
Like, they're gonna have to do a paper here, they're gonna.
They're gonna have to do paper, so they can keep it there.
They won't figure it out.
Deflection.
They won't figure it out, we'll figure
I'm concerned they're not using notebooks, honestly.
Well, I see them on body cams pull out their Miranda cards and their
Yeah.
Roars cards.
it. Well, there's also a pocket. I mean, that's probably a better place. to do it.
Yeah.
You could fit it in.
That's it, your pocket. Yeah, this gives you color record.
Yeah, that's
Perfect size.
Nobody's using nobody on this talk.
Outer Fest, have Treasure McDonald ready.
Actually, nobody uses the
Nobody
pocket.
has Josh can.
They do it.
Work from last.
Anywhere you.
Where do they put their pocket thing?
Perfectly.
Find your little pouch
They have AI.
out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Beside us, they're pretty
you
big.
have to know I got a Roars in my
Yeah,
in
very
my
good.
pocket. I used to carry that. Flashing Roars.
Let them stop your car.
Not too long ago. I don't do it on the radio though, because 100 people come showing up. I can't stop it.
Oh, no. He's broke.
Stop the cars. Yeah.
Again.
Did we ask Dee or Delina if there's any update from the tribe? Is she off now?
Yeah, Delina, any update on the tribe? Funding or?
I'm sorry, you guys.
That's
So
okay.
Dee's in a meeting right now and I think they're speaking, the monies haven't flowed down yet, but we will have an answer soon as we can, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Brings us to internally, maybe Jenna, you and I, sometime around, if you guys do strange, probably get together. Figure out our final budget
Yes.
requests we're gonna make.
Yeah.
So we can get that in by the end of the year.
We did get like a lump sum that came to us. And so based on the email exchange I had with you, just kind of as like a very general breakdown, that's I think what we have put into our system, just because we had to put the money somewhere.
You got it?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Came to my office,
Yeah, that's true.
the money.
Because it's his
That's
address
nice.
on it.
That's my understanding, they gave us like 183,000 or something like that. And so my office staff was like, what do I do with this money? And I'm like,
They probably did.
but it's,
We need it.
if you want to take it over, that's fine.
No.
I'll give it. I'll give it to you. Because ultimately you're gonna pay,
Oh, perfect.
but I just am surprised they sent money because
We never signed the agreements.
I could be mistaken, but my understanding is we
no
got
one
like
did.
183.
Oh, it's that. Oh.
We never got the agreement. Oh, maybe we did. I don't know. We'll deal with that.
I will do that.
Yeah, let's walk that one back. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think we wanted to maybe do some funding for like cell phones and things like that,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's broken into our zoning. Anyways, but yes, let's do that. You want to send me a calendar invite?
Yeah, check.
Okay.
Okay, we're back on. Your county budget.
I think the other consideration too was possible MOU for Celeste. I don't know if you just want to keep that.
Yeah,
I'm not-
I haven't. We need to them and helping county probably. Helping county is probably the priority to get something done, so.
Does the county have to sign up on that?
And the county, it's not only just signing, but they'll have to do the legal review of it.
It seems that we need agreements with Phoenix and Pre-Connections also.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna be, especially with the billing too. Yeah. A lot of agreements that need to.
So the easiest and what is possible. I guess we just do that.
Yeah, I think so.
That doesn't happen.
Just so everyone's aware, we did find the deflection coordinator.
Oh.
She's in backgrounds right now. We also have a really great backup just in case. So I think whichever way it shakes out, I think we'll have someone really great in that position. The person that we did pick does have grant funding background, which I think was a huge plus, and is also a QH.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so we're really excited. She comes, the one that we've offered it to comes from the Ovala Center. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be getting a positive email in the next week saying that she's accepted. But yeah,
And when do you plan to start?
the next pay period,
Yeah,
when the county allows us to, yes.
but she doesn't need more lead time, so that's good.
No, she said, yeah, as soon as, I think she was the one that said as soon as possible, yeah.
Awesome.
everything will be in place and do the training. We'll probably have the date we're starting it. Then we'll be training.
That's my hope.
So the coordinator should probably come. Training,
That would be a good idea. I will add that on.
just to get connected.
So
Get over here.
Yeah.
would have a phone number, did have on the phone and the card. And Walmart activated it for me right there, and they said, well, it'll take about an hour. So Jen and I didn't think more about it, right? Until today, and so I've been over at Walmart trying to make this thing square with. I'm gonna go change it. Okay, and just do it ourselves. Okay. So I'll have that today.
Okay.
You can get that to us today if you do get it.
Yes.
Because we will give you some of those.
Yeah.
Citation. Yeah, that's good.
I thought we'd be good, but
That works.
So will the phone number that was assigned be the same number though?
there's no phone number assigned.
Oh, we're not.
Yeah, I said, well, just turn on, but as soon as you turn it on, it'll be active and then
Oh,
there's a number attached.
well, the burner bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those. I see the no credit check. It's a verb.
The school town. Not the one I usually. I know where to be. It was Jen and I, okay?
That is too funny.
But yeah, we got that. We'll be ordering citation, get the number, some machines on that, get the cards, get the talk about the training. Anything else, then it's all falling into place.
Well,
This whole thing gonna fall apart then when we turn into the family.
Well, I think it'll be slow down, but I think I don't think during the meeting, maybe after the meeting, talking to Helping Hands, sounds like they're, even without the agreement, they're willing to move forward. I think we can just invoice later.
Yeah.
When agreements come through.
Okay.
I think they know they're taking a risk, but obviously they're taking a risk with the government. See that they can be good for the money. I mean, they know we're getting the money.
We have the money.
We have the money, yeah, evidently, so, but yeah, that'll be a slowdown. Hopefully I can get a simple agreement. Simple stuff.
Even the simple ones aren't simple.
Wish we had a template.
We do.
We do.
For lead.
Okay.
Oh, good. But I know Helping Hands said that they would be fine just invoicing us for the services, and I'm guessing Phoenix and Reconnections would invoice us as well.
yeah, we were gonna talk about that. Yeah, it's simple.
But we know the amount for Helping Hands. You guys always have to, you guys are gonna talk and work on costs, so we just need to know that.
And ideally, if we could get that in the next 2 weeks, because I think we have to, right, Lieutenant Shanks, we have to put that in the final grant budget. It's what we plan to, I guess, expend with Phoenix and Reconnections.
The tribe said they pay for their own through their money that they're getting. Right?
I think that's going to be difficult, to tell you the truth. I mean, Ashley and Wiley and I were emailing. One of the things that we were discussing was, keeping track of our hourly. It kind of depends on how many referrals are made. I know other counties aren't seeing a lot of referrals, and I mean, based on what you guys are saying, I feel like we're going to have quite a few. So, I really think we actually need to bill at least until the end of June on an hourly basis, so we can actually keep track of what we're going to be asking for when the state's next funding source comes based on what we've done.
I agree.
I just only know it from like law enforcement, like, so there's on-call pay, right? And then there's actually, like, if you actually get called out into the field, then there's a different pay for that. Is there something similar
Yeah,
in your realm?
we've talked briefly about it. Owners,
Yeah.
how we're gonna do that, and that's what we wanted to talk about.
I think so.
At our next meeting, and fee for services is different, we have someone who's on Medicare, it doesn't cover the assessment. We could get them hooked up on OHP pretty quickly if they're eligible for Medicaid. And then that assessment's covered, but what about?
I see what you're saying.
A good amount of, just use aid assist, for example, they aren't covered. So what are we gonna do with that too?
Yeah,
So we gotta look at hourly and some of the services that they provide to you.
okay.
Can I ask a question for the tribe? So, is there a list of coordinators, the deflection coordinators? That you guys went to some meeting that there was supposed to be a list of phone numbers or connections to their coordinators? Do you guys have one of those?
So
The thing
there
with
should
the
be,
Siletz tribe is we're 11 county service area and that's why it's taking us. We don't mean to hold you off, but like we have a wider range to like split the monies down. So Dee's trying to come up with a plan. So I just want to see if you have a list of the coordinators so we can maybe get it done as soon as possible to get you guys an answer of what we're going to do.
The coordinators have been hired already in the different counties. Is that what you're talking about, Delina?
Yeah, somebody said there was a list of coordinators that was going to be handed out, but I don't know if you guys have that. No?
No,
Okay.
I don't think it's on the dashboard for the CJC either. I don't think they have any coordinators. I can look.
But,
Okay, if you happen to have one, we would love it.
Transfers of people that aren't from county. And
Right. There may be one in works, but I'll look on their dashboard because they have a lot of stuff, so.
Thank you.
I don't think you were doing transfers.
There's a lot of counties that aren't. I thought we were going to, if somebody lived outside a county, try to work with them.
I thought we're gonna let navigators refer people to their home county for services, like whatever. The same services that we would refer them to in Lincoln County. I thought we were gonna allow them to do it in their home county.
Yeah, we could talk a bit about that if they're kind of participating. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And even if not, I think were you guys going to try to maintain that?
Yes.
I guess it would be a case by case basis because I mean, you could potentially refer someone from in our county to a service out of county if that's what they need.
Sure.
I don't think we're going to make it a blanket for the field, the officer in the field to say if they're an out of county
No.
resident to say you're coming to jail or after
Right.
that. I think we're going to let that
Still
back
back
in for the coordinator.
They could give them a referral to say a treatment agency in a different county, and then the coordinator could track, kind of like what I do with Crossroads. There's still like tracking and monitoring,
Okay.
but they may be engaged in services in a different county, because the prosecution would still have to come back here.
Right.
That's done.
My concern with that is that our treatment providers here are all on the same page as to what success looks like and all those things. I don't know if that's going to translate.
Exactly.
I know some counties did make it a blanket. They're not accepting anybody for deflection. I have an out of county address, but I think we talked and said, well, we'll at least try.
And I guess my question would be, when you're, like, when Phoenix is referring to an outside agency, or outside treatment provider, are you making sure they're doing the right assessment? And I mean, I guess, where does that piece fall into if we're referring out of county?
If they're state licensed treatment.
They will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I think that our local navigators will still be doing the assessment. I'm thinking about, okay, you've been assessed. You need substance use disorder treatment, but you live in Milwaukee, Oregon. They may find a provider for them to refer them to in that area. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I see.
Versus making them come back here.
I'm not sure we're all on the same page regarding that because I'm not sure about Wiley's agency, but I have peers that don't do assessments because they're not certified out, they're not licensed and certified to do that. So there are peer supports that not every single one of them is qualified to do an assessment, an ASAM assessment. Do you, Jelena, are all of your peers qualified to do ASAM assessments? Mine aren't.
No, I mean, our peers aren't either. But our peers would look at that as what the council already did.
Right.
That's why we have this.
Yeah.
We're talking about two different things, yeah.
Okay,
I don't think the assessment would happen on like the side of the road with the navigator.
No.
Yeah, yeah, we're not envisioning that.
Can you do them virtually?
It's really tough. It's pretty lengthy process, the assessment, yeah, you're looking at a 2 hour.
Oh,
event, to do a full exam assessment. Yeah, that would be time, yeah. So we want to get them looked up with services, and initial contact is the peer, and then look at those services.
And get them in for the
The assessment isn't gonna have a thing.
No, right.
Especially at night. Right. Yeah, we don't want to do that anyway. They're under the influence, you're not gonna get it.
Okay, I know we gotta leave. Anything else we'll get the citation with the phone number citation, start working on the cards. We'll have slides for the next meeting. So I know our group, this sheriff's office, will all be at our conference next week. So we want to meet on the 16th. Okay.
We'll try to get the cards laminated before your training, so you can. take
That'd be
those.
great.
See what we can do.
I'll make the edits and then I'll send you like a PDF.
Yeah,
Or the,
can you send me all the file versions you have? Because sometimes they like one thing versus another.
Oh,
So PDF, PowerPoint or Word or whatever. to send is
I
great.
can do that.
Thank you.
And then they'll know to do like one side and the other side.
And then, I can just measure this to make sure that they get the dimensions right, because sometimes it looks different on their computers.
Okay.
I like just say exactly how big we want it.
Got it. Okay.
And then, yeah, let me know.
Oh,
And I think we could also send up the agencies the PDF version, so if they want to have it on their desktop, on their PCs, they have it electronically too.
yes, absolutely.
And did we confirm how many copies of the citation we need?
Yeah, we're all dialed in on that.
That's $400 and they're 25 per book.
And how many of the carbon copies were there?
We went for.
I think we always settle on 4. We got rid of the abstract, which is the second sheet there, and the other 4 colored in there.
Because it's not gonna hold any legal authority in court with this.
What do you mean?
Like
Like the current citations have that.
it's not gonna be the firm citation, so we didn't make.
No.
No.
Yeah, we'll never know who this, and they're gonna come back and look.
Yep. So 4 of them.
Of course.
This is long.
You can have the original for the first.
We get the Perry back.
The very back copies you. Actually.
Yeah.
Written myself.
Oh, yeah, like actually, one you can't read.
Yeah. That's the one.
That's the only one that'll have this stuff on.
I see.
Yeah. Because if
That
that's,
makes sense.
yeah. I gotta jump into the. Thank you.
Okay, see you on the 16th.
All right, so the 16th.
16.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Good.